In this video, I'll be talking about two things. Those two things are comments and functions, right? See, first of all, I will talk about comments. See, I'm writing the code this time in PyDroid 3. You can write the same code in your IDLE also and run it there also. It doesn't matter, right? So, first of all, we will start with comments. So, see, what are comments? Comments are special lines of code which are written for explaining the code to humans. See, even though Python is a high level language, which means that it is not a machine language. Okay, don't focus much on what a high level language is, but understand it is easier to understand for humans as compared to machine language. But still, Python is still a coding language. We cannot easily understand what is happening in the code. For example, if I write something like for count in range 0 to 10, print count into 10, and for some reason I am doing something like this. For some reason I am doing this. Now when you are writing this code, you might be understanding what is happening in this code, right? You are understanding why you are writing this code. But what happens, you are not the only person writing a code, right? So when you are working in a company, when you are working on a software, even when you are working alone, when you are writing the code, now you understand why you have written the code the way you have written. But afterwards, even you are not able to remember ki why I have written like this, why I have written here multiplied by 10, why I have written minus 4, right? Why I have taken range only till 10. So for you to remember what you have done, or for you to explain it to the other programmers that what you have done, you can write some sort of a message in English over here, right? So you can write something like this is to print 10 numbers, right? From, let us say, minus 4 to 96, okay? Something like that. Even I am not sure what is being printed over here, but something like this might be being printed. Okay, so see, what are you doing like this when you write something like this? Okay, it won't be 96, it will be 86. Okay, that was just bugging me. So when you write something like this, whenever a person, even a non-programmer or someone who is not you, comes and reads this, see which one is easier for him to understand. If he reads this line, is it easier for him to understand? Or if he reads these two lines, is it easier for him to understand? Definitely it is much more easier for him to understand by reading this single line, right? Now this is a very simple example. A person can even understand what is happening by reading these two lines also. But when you're talking about very big codes, in those big codes there are so many things that are happening. You're opening files, you're closing files, you're writing some sort of data, you're fetching some sort of data, you're parsing some data. A lot of things are going on, right? So you're not able to understand why exactly each step is happening. So you can write something in English which you can read afterwards, or which other coders can read afterwards, and you can understand what is happening inside this code, right? So these things are known as comments. Okay, so what is a comment? A comment is a line in programming code which is for the programmer to understand. Okay, comments are ignored by Python. Okay, Python is not interested in comments. Whatever you are writing in comments, Python is not interested. Python knows that comments are for humans, comments are not for the Python interpreter, right? So how does Python know that one line is a comment? Whenever a line starts with a hash, whenever a line starts with a hash symbol, okay, this hash symbol, it means that the line is a comment. Okay, so for example, it is not necessary that the comment should be written like this. I can write a comment like this also. I can write print hello, And then afterwards, just by putting one space, I can put hash over here and write this line prints hello. So this is how you can use your comments. Either you can write complete starting line as comments, or after your code you can write something like this. But you cannot do it other way around, okay? You cannot write like this line prints hello, and then you can't write your code print hello, okay? Because what does Python think? Python thinks this is also a comment. There is no way to end a comment line, okay? You cannot end a comment line. You cannot put another hash over here and say that the comment is over, right? After hash, whatever you write in that line, it is definitely going to be a comment. So you will have to press enter, and then this line will be executed by Python. So what are comments? Comments are lines in programming code which are for the programmer to understand what is happening inside the code. Comments are ignored by Python. And how do you write a comment? You write a comment by putting hash in front of it. At the beginning there should be a hash, so whatever you write after that, that is a comment. Okay, so done. So this is what comment is, right? Comments must be used extensively in Python so as to explain your code. And always whenever you start writing a new program, always write a comment at the beginning. And in the comment, what all should you write? You should write the name of the program, right? Then you can write a small explanation about the program, okay, what is happening inside my program. Then you can write the author of the program, that is you yourself, and you can write the date of last changes made. Okay, these are some things which are preferably written by almost all programmers at the beginning of the code, right? It depends from company to company what all things you have to write, but this makes it much clearer for all the people to understand what has happened in this code, or rather what is happening in this code. Just by reading the explanation, I will be able to know what this code is all about. And whenever you write any kind of a complicated code, always make sure that you write a comment explaining your code, explaining the code. Okay, so hopefully comments are clear to you. Then after completing comments, we will move on to functions, right? So what are functions? See, whenever you are coding something, you have to do something, right? You have to perform some kind of a task. For example, it is possible that you might have to take input from the user. Then it is possible that you have to do some kind of complicated calculations, right, including sine, cos, right? Then it is possible there is something known as data conversion, which I will be talking about in the next lecture, but there is something known as data conversion. Then you can want to have to print something. Then you might have to open and write to some kind of files, right? There are hundreds and thousands and millions of things that you can do using Python. But whenever you want to do anything using Python, you always have to use functions. What are basically functions? See, if you want to perform some kind of a task, you will have to do a lot of calculation, a lot of effort, right? You will have to write a very big code. For example, let us say something simple. For example, if you want to find the sine of some angle, right? If you want to find sine of some angle, or you want to find cos of some angle, what you can do, you can create your own sine table, you can create your own cos table, and then you can find out whenever I put the angle value of an angle, it will give me the value of sine and it will give me the value of cos. But this is what you have to write the entire code on your own. Rather than writing the entire code on your own, someone else has already written the code. There are people out there who are writing the code on their own and allowing us to use those codes. The codes that they have written are in the form of something known as modules, and inside those modules there is something known as functions, right? So what are functions? Functions are blocks of code that are used to perform a certain task. Okay, functions are blocks of code that are used to perform a certain task. Functions are written by different programmers. Even you yourself can write functions, and that functions you can make those functions available to other programmers also. Okay, and functions are written by programmers. Functions, use of functions helps in reducing the development time, because you are using the code which has been written by others. You are reducing the development time rather than doing everything from the beginning. See, for example, if you are creating a car, you are not going to create the tires on your own, you are not going to create the wheels on your own, you are not going to create the complete engine on your own, you are not going to manufacture the steel also, you are not going to do everything on your own, right? You are going to buy the steel. It is possible that you might buy the tires from MRF, you might buy the wheels from some other company, you might buy the engine from Fiat like Maruti Suzuki does, and just assemble the car. That is what you are doing. You are taking functions from different people, putting it in your code and creating your own complicated code, right? So it helps in reducing the development time and size of code, right? So functions can be of two main types, right? Functions can be of two main types. We have seen several functions till now. We have seen the print function. What does the print function do? The print function prints something on the screen. Similarly, we have also seen the input function, right? What does the input function do? The input function takes input from the user. So see, there is one thing common. Whenever I write the function name, as soon as I write the function name, after the function name I put a circle bracket open and I put a circle bracket close. So always each and every function is followed by circle bracket open and circle bracket close. It is possible that the circle brackets might have something inside them. Okay, it may have something inside it. For example, see, something inside it. For example, see, when we are writing the print function, we write like this, na, print hello, right? So this kind of a function where there is something inside the circle bracket, this kind of a function is known as a parameterized function. What does a parameterized function mean? A parameterized function means that it has a parameter. What is a parameter? Anything you write inside the circle bracket is a parameter. So anything that you write inside the circle bracket of a function is known as a parameter. Similarly, you can also have non-parameterized functions. It is not compulsory that each and every function should have a parameter. For example, input function can be non-parameterized also, and input function can be parameterized also. Okay, so enter your name, right? So this is how input function can be non-parameterized. Non-parameterized means what? There is nothing inside the bracket, right? There are no parameters inside it. So this is how you can create your Python code. That is how you can use functions in your Python code, right? Hopefully functions are clear to you. If they are not, don't worry. As we keep on using these functions, it will become much more clear to you. We will even create our own functions. When we create our own functions, these functions are known as user defined functions. Okay, we can create even our own functions and use them in our code, right? So we will see all of these things as we move on, and functions will become clear to you. I just want you to remember 4 points right now. Okay, first of all, what is a function? Functions are blocks of code that are used to perform a certain task. What is the second thing that you have to remember? That function is always followed by opening and closing circle bracket. If a function has something inside the opening and closing circle bracket, then it is known as a parameterized function, and if it does not have anything inside it, then it is known as a non-parameterized function. Okay, so this is all for this session. I know I haven't written any code because I have just explained what comments are and what functions are. Hopefully you have understood both these points. Comments are something which are used to understand the code for programmers who are reading the code, and comments are always starting with the hash. Okay, so thank you.